for this channel, I had a bit of a plan. The idea was to get the channel intro out before the end of November, and that didn't happen, unfortunately. I think I uploaded it on the 1st or the 2nd of December, which isn't that late, but it shows that I did put it off quite a long time. And maybe that was due to some fairness and some sense of what if people don't like it? Not important. That was the plan. That was the plan. I had to stick to it. Didn't quite stick to it, but we're here now. And I thought, okay, well, once I upload that first video, I want to upload a bunch of videos taken from a big list that I've sort of been putting together now for the past couple of months. It has been 12 days since that last video, and I have not posted a single thing. This is the first video that's being posted after that video. This video was meant to be a video about the importance of setting goals and why setting big goals early on can help you in your self-improvement journey. And I failed. I have sort of fallen off the bandwagon in the last week or so. So I guess I'm gonna cope for a little bit. Just over a week ago now, I think it was on last Tuesday, I came down with a really serious sort of migraine. Like, it was bad, man. I couldn't leave my bed. I was so ill. I don't get ill very often. It's the weirdest thing. I don't get super ill. I don't get down from that, and it just knocked me out, man. It was bad. And then once the headache finally went away, I then had a chest infection, and I was like coughing, and I would break out into coughing fits, and it would actually physically hurt in my chest. Now, did a bunch of COVID tests, negative, so your boy's still good. But it absolutely took the wind out of my sails in that sense. And for the past, I got ill on last Tuesday. That day was the last day that I exercised got up early in the morning, exercised, meditated, and gratitude journaled, and a bunch of other things. I stopped counting my calories and everything on MyFitnessPal, and generally I have not been following the protocol, as it were. And it's made me really depressed. Like, I don't know why, but for the past week or so, I have been really severely depressed. Like, I've been feeling worse than I felt normally when I started doing all these habits. Like, I don't know what it is. Well, I guess I can answer my question there. Whatever habits I was doing were clearly helping me in some way mentally. And I don't know why. Not much of my circumstances have changed at all. But I've just been more depressed. I've been so down. And it's really been playing on my mind. It's really affected my sort of the way I view the future, and specifically how I view this channel, because, you know, I was so ready, I was so hyped up to start uploading stuff, and I was already late. I was already like, shit, I need to get a video out. And then I got sick, and then all this happened. And I know it sounds like I'm coping. I am coping, okay? I don't really have a great excuse for this. But I decided to post this video anyway. I'm going to upload this video because this channel is dedicated to my journey, to my sort of my journey. It's my journey for self-improvement. I'm not very eloquently spoken yet. That's we'll get there eventually. And I felt like I couldn't just leave out the bit. Like, I felt like I couldn't just show the bits where things go well. This is an example of where things go wrong. You know, I was doing really well. I'd been doing all the healthy habits, and then life just hits you. Sometimes you get dealt a bad card sometimes, and it can absolutely knock the wind out of you. And it's taught me that I didn't have an incredible sense of mental resilience. Like, yes, I was consistent with my um with my with my habits, but the minute something out of my control happened, it shook me to my core and I wasn't able to continue with the progress I made. And that sucks. It really sucks, but it's a very valuable lesson, I feel. I think it's important to take stock of when these things go wrong. You know, very early on in your journey, you're going to be get consistent with some habits. You're going to get and think that you're making really good progress. You know, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's kind of, so if you don't know what that is, it's where when you start something, you feel like you're making loads of progress, like you are on an upward trajectory. You're making so much progress, even though you probably aren't, but you feel like you are. And then you sort of hit this point where you stagnate and realize you aren't actually learning that much because you're not really learning anything new. And then it's supposed to go back up again slowly once you start learning new things. And so I thought I was doing really well. And then life dealt me a card that was out of my control and I wasn't able to keep it together. And I think it's important to recognize when that happens, and it's important to not get too down about it, because you are going to experience points in your journey where you might get complacent. You might not even necessarily get complacent. You might be doing all the right things. You might just get unlucky like I did and I got sick. And then your progress is going to sort of be derailed, and that's going to really demotivate you. That's kind of the reason I'm doing this video now and talking to you about what happened, because this journey I've realized, thankfully very early on, is that it's not linear. You don't keep going forward. It's not linear, sorry. Yes, it is linear. Sorry, I can't speak today. This journey is linear. Everything that happens in it, regardless of whether it's good or bad, is all part of the process. Every good thing gives you motivation to keep going. Every bad thing teaches you a lesson that you can learn to keep going. That's been a really powerful mindset. That's a really powerful mindset to have if you want to get into self-improvement, if you want to really sort of, supercharge your journey. And so if something happens that's completely out of your sort of control, don't get discouraged. But at the same time, you should take stock of whether or not you dealt with it well. If you didn't deal with it well, that might be a sign to keep in mind, because, the next time something bad happens, it could knock you off really badly. And I guess the lesson to learn from this is that you're not a superhero. You're not a Superman. You're not going to completely just go through this with no problems. Like, life is going to hit you. And you have to be ready for it when it happens. And when it does eventually happen, because we get sick, things happen, you have to have the discipline to be able to get yourself back on it. Because at the end of the day, you are 100% responsible for the things that happen in your life. Now, when I say that, I know that sounds a little bit controversial, like, if everything that happens to you happens for a reason. No, I'm not saying that. Like, you aren't responsible for getting into an accident. You aren't responsible for getting sick. You are responsible for the way you react to those situations. Okay? So let's take the simple thing. You're on self-improvement, you're doing all the habits, and then suddenly you get really ill, and that knocks you off your progress. You stop doing the good habits, you stop doing the things that are good for you, you start doing the bad habits. You might for some time not be able to get back onto those things because you're just too ill. That's fine. But you will reach a point where you can do those things physically. And then you have to have the discipline to get up and do those things. Because if you really, really want this, you have to have the discipline to be able to say, right, it's a bit of a rough patch, but that's part of the journey. Let's get back on it and let's keep going. Because if this is the type of thing that will like stop you dead in your tracks, this is going to be a very long and painful journey. And it's really important to learn early on this lesson of what do I do if things go wrong? I have to do something about it. I have to get back onto the wagon, as it were. It's not an easy journey. It's certainly not going to be easy. I mean, it kind of scared me, that health scare, and it made me wonder, was I pushing myself too hard? And some part of me thinks maybe I was, but at the same time, another part of me thinks that, you know, it's cold, it's the seasonal change, you know, I just got unlucky and I got ill. All right, and it has nothing to do with whatever I was doing. So you know, it all depends how much you want this, really. And I want this enough that I'm going to keep going. You know, I haven't meditated, haven't gratitude journal, haven't exercised, haven't gotten up early in 7-8 days now. And I'm uploading this video now to hold myself accountable that I'm going to start again tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, that is what's important to me. And I hope that you can take a lesson from this, that even if something bad happens, you have the power to pick yourself up and keep going. And that's all it is, you know. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Cheers.